This day is actually the significance of three very auspicious occasions. The birth of Prince Siddhartha, which was back in 623 BCE, before the 588 BCE, and the Buddha's Mahaparinibbana, 543 BCE. What are these three occasions meant to us? If we understand that, then this Buddha will mean a lot to us, and we will have a lot of faith in what we are doing. What we are doing here on Sunday, instead of spending time in the shopping mall, right? Family, we are here early in the morning to spend this life together, meaningful life. That is what our theme, living a meaningful life. Prince. His personal name, Siddhartha, and Gautama was his family clan name. And Siddhartha book, or here, Siddhartha Gautama. So that is in Sanskrit, right? So it's the same. So his family clan, Kapilavastu, which is the current border, Nepal and India. If anyone have been to India pilgrimage before? Oh, those of you who haven't, it's Kapilavastu Lumbini Park. Yeah. His father was King Suddhodana. Mother was Queen. His aunt is Mahapajapati Gautama. Why his aunt here? That is significant. Because after Prince Siddhartha, he was born, after 7 days, his biological mother, that is Queen Mahamaya, she died. So his auntie, actually Mahapajapati, is his mother's sister. But they are also she also married to the King Suddhodana. So Mahapajapati kind, instead of taking care of her own son Nanda, she actually passed the son to Nani to take care. And later on, Prince Siddhartha, he was very blessed because why? After he was born, there were, in India, especially for the royal family, who are very high in their knowledge, the king would ask these elders to come for the naming ceremony and to predict what will be the future of this baby. So at that time, right, a few of them came, about 7 or 8 of them came. So they predicted, they say, oh, because this baby would in future either become a universal monarch, that means a very righteous king, or a Buddha. A Buddha means he would have to leave the kingdom to be the king. So he was the king, and he would want his son, the prince, to continue his lineage. So what from young, all whatever he needs, he had it. He was given good education all inside the palace. He was not out. That means he would have seen all the outside world, what happened in the outside world. So he actually kept him in the palace, and he built 3 palaces for his season: the cold season, the hot season, and the rainy season. So he kept him in the building, in the palace, 3 palaces. So for the 3 months or the 4 months. So he was cut off totally from the outside world. But the prince, since young, he was and meditate. So, and he become very inquisitive. Why whatever I see, is it the same outside the world? Because if I'm going to, so he had this contemplation, inquiry, and he asked. So one time he asked to go out. So his chariot, and then he saw these 3 sights. He saw an old man, he saw a sick man, and he saw a dead man. And later on, when he saw this, he asked Channa, why are they like this? So Channa told him, oh, people get old after they were born. People get sick, died. After they born, they go old and then they die. That is very natural. So Prince Siddhartha thought to himself, to be subject to that, subject to old age, illness, and death. So he contemplated, he think. Then he thought, since I'm a same old age, illness, and death, so in that case, why am I subject to it? And I'm looking for it. I'm enjoying myself in the palace, and I'm enjoying, but I still suffer according to this old age, death, illness, and death. So why am I still looking for this non-freedom? Born again, old, illness, and die. How can I, that he started to think, how can I be freed myself, but for the people, for all the people, so that they can be relieved of their suffering as well? Then he saw a recluse, the fourth sight. The recluse was so peaceful, it struck his mind. That is the way that I can, to find out how to go about finding the way. So he was inside there, contemplating life, all the luxury, even every day, even after his marriage to a very beautiful wife, Princess Yashodhara, who was also his cousin. Yet he was not happy to find the truth. So he made up his mind. After all the contemplation, all the deliberation, shall I or shall I not? Then he made up his mind. Yes, I need to go. I need to find out where of this to end this suffering. So on the day, his son Rahula to leave, to have the renunciation from the palace to homeless life. Even at that time, he was thinking, time I am the heir, I will be the king. I have a beautiful son. But to him, he said, if I stay back in the palace and continue my life, my luxury life, what is my princess, my prince, my kingdom? But what I want to save the whole world. I want to save all the people, as many as possible. This was his luxury palace life. The king was so worried that he left. So built for him 3 palaces, and he used all the tip-top in India. The tip-top quality is the sandalwood from Kasi. Kasi is very popular for that. Just like now, what we do, LV, the Coach. I hope I'm not outdated, right? 3 palaces, yay, entertainment by female musicians. Guys, to you will enjoy, right? But to him, no. In fact, he felt the loss of all this. He asked his charioteer, Chana, and his famous and favorite horse, white horse, Kandaka. We do have one Kandaka outside, right? But it's using this one only. This one is a horsepower. And they ran, fly. The horse seems to fly because so fast from the palace, as fast as possible, so that the king and his ministers and his soldiers would not be able to catch him back. So they fly for Anuma. If you see this picture, that is the picture of great renunciation. He cut off, he shaved off his hair, he removed all the prince's clothes, all the accessories, all he passed to Chana and asked him to go back to the palace and inform his king that he has left to seek for truth. So at first, he came out, right? Don't know what to do. So he thought, I need to see teacher. I need to get the advice of teachers. Ever gone through the ascetic life or how it is to be an ascetic. So he went to see teacher. At first, he went to see one teacher in training. He was equal to the teacher. He knew whatever the teacher taught, and he could attain what the teacher attained. Even with the attainment, he was not able to find the freedom. So he said, no, that is not the way. And he left. And he found another teacher. And that teacher, Udaka Ramaputta. But the teacher thought, equal to the teacher, but yet still cannot find the truth. So he thought to himself, the teachers, they know what to be freed. That is not the way to free from the suffering. So he thought in that case, and during that time in India, the spiritual is very popular in the sense that a lot of ascetics, they actually went from the home life to homeless life. What they do, they believe that by torturing, by austerity, torturing their body, then that is the way to free their mind in order to. At that time, the ascetic Gautama, he already became an ascetic. So he also tried to use that method. So he found a place, a solitude place in a forest nearby the river, which can get alms food because he needs to He cannot cook himself. He has no money at all. From a prince who had everything, luxury, wealth, now he was no even a roof on top of him. So he just wandered from place to place. That was his shelter. So he went and find this place nearby a river and also next nearby a village so that he can get some food. He started his austerity, severe austerity. But he did that for 6 years until he became like this. He stopped breathing. Sometimes he followed, he don't eat anything. From eat little, he slowly until no food. He tortured himself, even sometimes until he became like mere skeleton and almost died because of no nourishment. During that time when he started this austerity, supported him because these 5 friends, one of them by the name of Konanya, he was one of the elders who predicted his future, and he followed him for this austerity practice, but still he couldn't. So Buddha was his mind was very pure, although his body was very sick. He was very painful with the body, but he maintained his and could concentrate. So he thought to himself, this is not the way. Why? If I want to have to follow the body, in order to have strong mind, my body must be physically fit. Then only I can support the mind. I can have this peaceful mind to continue on my spiritual life. So after thinking thus, he started, saw him having food, nourishing himself. So they thought, this ascetic has decided to give up, not continuing the creed. And they left him. So the ascetic Gautama was thinking, this is the time that I need you most to support me. And yet all of you, never mind. The quest still continued. So he decided to take some food. And the last meal that he had, milk rice at the place that he wanted to start his meditation. So he took some food, get some energy. And that was when his energy came back and he was able to sit and continue with this meditation. Night before his enlightenment, that is the full moon of the first full moon of the May month, he sat down under the Bodhi tree. And next, when we go to India, to this pilgrimage place, we will see this river. The last time the river was very beautiful, but now it's a little bit dry up already. Yeah. So under this, there was these 3 watches, which is very, very significant for his enlightenment. He sat there evening, he sat there until the next morning. So this is divided into 3 timing. So from 6 p.m. to about 10, and then there's a first watch, and then from 10 to 2 a.m., the second watch is morning already. Yeah. So during these 3 watches while he was sitting, that was the time that he started his knowledge, right? He started to meditate, go into deeply. Morning, he became enlightened. I will share with you what are the 3 watches later in these 9 qualities of the Buddha. So when we read the story of the Buddha, we thought the life story of the Buddha to become a Buddha enlightened is just 6 years, right? Just 6 years, after he left, 6 years. During the time of Buddha Dipankara, there was, if you count from the Buddha backwards, right, it's about 20 over Buddhas before him. So there was that of life, which is difficult for us to think. 100 years is really so long. We maybe a lot of us is 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, but since that's so long already. But imagine, also couldn't imagine how long it is. But he actually was born at that time as the hermit Sumedha. When he saw this, when he was there, and he actually took a pledge, a vow, to become a future Buddha because he wanted to relieve the beings from suffering. At that time, he can be enlightened, but he chose not to because why? If he was enlightened at that time after listening to Buddha Dipankara, he only benefit himself. So he thought no, he wanted. So he chose to become a bodhisattva to practice to become a Buddha. So all throughout this period, perfecting his mind, the concentration of his mind. So he has perfected a group together, 10 perfections. But of course, there are many that he has perfected throughout this long journey, long period of time, until his last life as a prince, Siddhartha, of training. Yeah. So these qualities that he had acquired and attained is actually through long period in the austerity practice. Yeah. So let's see. Just now we have chanted every Sunday or every day. Anyone chant every day at home, brother? Oh, then after this, maybe it will give you the inspiration, yeah, to do the recollection of the Buddha qualities, the Sangha. But today we only will touch on these qualities of the Buddha, recollection on the qualities of the Buddha. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Itipiso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho Vijjacharana Sangpanno Sugato Lokavidu Anuttaro Purisa Dhamma Sarati Sattha Deva Manusanang Buddho Bhagavati. That was what we chanted just now, right? Or every week or every day. Let's try to understand that. The first one, Arahang. Arahang, he is. Why is he the worthy one? Because of his enlightenment. He has purified all his mental faculties. He has cleared all his defilements, worthy of our revelation. Right? Eradicated all his defilements. What are these defilements? In us, the first defilement, ignorance, jealousy, even conceit. All these are considered as defilement, because these defilements are the ones sometimes most of them have suffering, cause us to be unhappy. Why? Because when we cannot get anything, we get angry, or we are, when we compare with our peers, I'm doing more, jealousy come up, anger come up, these defilements. But in this case, the Buddha has cleared all. His mind is in the equanimous, so he has no defilements, he has no anger, he has no jealousy, no especially ignorance. Enlightenment, he gained a lot, he gained knowledges, so he is wise to discern what is right and what is wrong. A lot of compassion as many as possible from suffering. That is his great compassion, Maha Karuna. And he's very high, very great generosity, because he wants to give as much as possible. Sama Sambuddho, when he became enlightened, you notice there was no teacher to be enlightened, to be freed from all his ignorance, to be freed from all his defilements in order to become enlightened. So Sama Sambuddho is a Buddha, Buddhahood. There are 3 levels, but this Sama Sambuddha is the Buddha who enlightened by himself. Not only by himself, so there is the greater part of it. He can enlighten, but more important, he can teach others also to be enlightened. So the other 2 are the Arahants, a teacher, and they became enlightened. They are liberated. So they are called Arahants. And the other one is Pacceka Buddha. Pacceka Buddha can be, they don't have the capability, they don't have the wisdom to teach others. Right? So for Buddhahood, Sama Sambuddha is the highest level of Buddhahood. So we honor him because of his enlightenment, enlightened by himself. Vijjacharana Sangpanno, because of his enlightenment. Remember just now I mentioned before he was during his enlightenment, acquired and attained levels of knowledges, which in a way helped him, instrumental for his future teachings to others. Yeah. Vijjacharana Sangpanno, we say one endowed with knowledge and virtues, right? So what knowledge? It's not the, we call this 3, which he attained during the 3 watches, Te Vijja, 3 knowledges, his higher knowledges. So during the first watch of the night, he 5 times. That means at first he went back, the previous lifetime, first life, then second life, then third life, 10 life, 100 life. So he went back as far as he know what was he, his name during that lifetime, his clan, where was he born, what was he, a king in a different caste, or sometime during each and every lifetime, he learned something, he gained some virtues. So he, during the previous lifetimes, right, he actually perfected and learned concentration. And during this, that's why during this lifetime, the last lifetime, he was able, even under the tree for the one night, he was able to go so deep in his concentration and manage to acquire this knowledge, back knowledges. The second watch of the night, he was able to see beings. Means all of us are okay. Beings, right, were born according to and reborn. And when they reborn, they were reborn according to their karma. Their karma, if they have done good deeds, good karma, meritorious deeds, then they were born happier. They can, if they have done this non-meritorious deeds, either they were born happy or non-happy, suffer, or they were born beautiful or ugly, fortunate or unfortunate. With his cleverance vision, it means he has the superpower vision. There was also one of the power that he acquired during his important one, the third watch of the night. He had the knowledge to clear, to destruct all his defilements. The one that I mentioned just now, he cleared off all his sensual pleasure, craving of becoming what? Becoming to be born in the Rupa world, in the human world, or to be born in a higher realm. That means as a deva or what. So there is this craving. So during this watch, he was actually clearing. He cleared. These defilements were all ceased. So at the Four Noble Truths, he realized, because of my craving, that is suffering. And where is, I suffer because I want this desire. I want this. I was Noble Truth during this watch. He understand suffering is there. What is the origin of the suffering? Craving. This suffering can be path. If we follow the path, the Noble Eightfold Path, then we can cease all this suffering. So he managed to, to understand, especially the third one. That's why he was pure from then onwards. So he also have the superpower. Right? He can see far, he can hear far. Right? So some, sorry. Previous. Sorry, okay. Normally, we would think of our normal virtues. We don't kill. We keep our precepts. So that is our conduct. We don't kill. We don't take things not given. Right? We don't sexually immoral. We don't have wrong speech, false speech, or false heedlessness. So likewise, the first conduct that he has, perfect morality. The perfect morality so cleared off. He's very pure in his speech. In his speech, no false speech, no chattering also, no harsh speech, and no backbiting, right? So that he perfect, and no like maybe taking drugs, taking things that is cause the mind to be heedless. And then he restrained in senses. What are the senses that we have? Tongue, like the body and the mind, the 6 senses. He restrained all these senses. It doesn't mean that all the while he has to close his eyes or close the. If any external object come into him, he knows this is just external. This is just, say example, a beautiful flower. It's just is subject to impermanence. Now beautiful, the next moment it can wither. The next moment it can dried off. Right? So he has this knowledge of characteristics of. So in this case, he restrained his senses. If he smell anything and food that is good, that is just smell and just let it go. Understand, but not attach senses. Moderation in eating. The Buddha only eat one meal a day. And why? To him, Why food? Why food? Food, remember, important for spiritual progress. So we need to have healthy body as well. So he eat food, moderate in eating, not excessive, just to maintain health, the spiritual life, but not to eat to enjoy any sensual pleasure. That is what his moderation in eating. Keeping awake, slept very little. And most of the time, he was very alert, mentally alert, spiritually alert. Remember the 3 watches? He sticks to the first watch. He will always teach the lay people or his sangha members or his disciple. He will rest and he will continue. Continue to teach who? The non-human. Who are the non-human? Devas, deities. You remember Mangala Sutta or not? Mangala Sutta, that was during that time, the deity came in the middle of the night, and they came, illuminating the whole Jetavana group, and they came seek advice from the Buddha, and then the Buddha gave advice, and that's why we have the Mangala Sutta. Very beautiful, and also for our learning as well, for our cultivation. Come, many of them. Even the Lord Sakka, Tin Gong also very respect the Buddha, and every now and then he will come and ask him for advice. Suttas, relating to the advice by the Buddha to Lord Sakka. Then after that, after the second watch, the third watch, after they walk, he walk up and down to do what? To release the stiffness of the body, because sitting for whole day, teaching all the disciples and the up and down until maybe you see for a short while, and then he would sleep for less than 2 hours. And he woke up early in the morning, not immediately go for clairvoyance, eye vision, to look around. Anyone needs my help today? Anyone can be enlightened today with my guidance? He will look around, survey the world with his clairvoyance vision. That is that super normal eyes. So he will do that, and he will wake up. He will do that and see anyone needs, and then he will go. Just an example, everyone familiar with this Angulimala. He saw Angulimala, this serial killer, almost want to kill his mother because he was already deluded already. He didn't even know that this is the mother already, But by killing the mother, he will go to hell. It's a very heavy karma. So the Buddha interjected and stopped Angulimala from his delusion, from his killing, And suddenly Angulimala realized and pay homage on, became an arahant. So the Buddha had this power. He can read people's mind. When he read people's mind, he know, you are up for liberation. Then what is needed? Then he will use the method. He will use his miracle in instruction to help the person to promote, to liberate him. You can read in the sutta as well, because time is running. So the next one, that's how the life of the Buddha and his liberation. He's helping people. Sada, he has the word that Hiri Ottappa. That is very important one. Hiri Ottappa, meaning Hiri, it's a moral shame. Moral shame, if we do something wrong, then I will feel shame. And Ottappa, I know it is wrong, then I don't do it. Because I know if I do it, it will have bad consequences. So I stopped. He was very learned, and he knows a lot of knowledges. Now, beside the higher knowledges, he knows medicine. Anyone who asks him, he knows medicine. He knows psychology, brother. He knows astrology. He also knows about the world system, universe system. He knows psychology. He knows philosophy. All he knows. But among all these knowledges, that's why he teaches the Dhamma. The rest are not so important because it cannot liberate us. It cannot help us to reduce our suffering. So, but highest knowledge. Mindfulness. He is mindful. That's why his mind is very clear. He knows what is right and what is wrong. He knows what. Sometimes when you read the sutta, you say the Buddha, when a question was asked, he keep quiet because he knows this question, he no need to answer. Or when questions are asked, he will use the answer. The person, oh, I see, it is like that. And he helped me understand. So he's very skillful in that because of his mind. And he have insight because of his enlightenment. So his insight. And more important also, his untiring energy. Because of his virya energy, his effort. That's why he is able to be enlightened. Even during the sea, actually persevered. Even how painful, how hard, he still continued with his using the effort to persevere through. So the Buddha, actually, you see, 8, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These are actually the qualities, the 5 spiritual power that the Buddha, teach us, for us to practice faith. Hiri Ottappa. We do when we have this Hiri Ottappa, meaning we are mindful of our action, our bodily, our speech, and our mental. So we will do only the wholesome deeds. Bahu Sutta continue to get knowledge. In this case, the knowledge to be liberated for us, the Dhamma. The Dhamma, try practice. When we do it, we understand it better. So the Buddha said, learning the Dhamma, learning the doctrine is important, but we must put it into practice. We must is possible. So now we have a Buddha Day observance, right? So we do need a lot of support. We do need a lot of service. While we are doing mindfulness, we practice compassion, patience. Yeah. So this is for our practice insight. When we have all this, then we will, in the 5 spiritual power, faith comes the foremost. Faith in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. If we want to continue, faith in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha is Sugato. Sugato is well gone. Well gone, yeah, a well gone one. Well gone in what? Well gone in the sense that the Buddha have gone through the whole long journey, right? Practicing to become a Buddhist. This journey is a well done one, and he has gone as a liberated Nibbana already. So his journey is a well gone journey. Loka Vidu, Loka, the world. He knows the world. So from his knowledge, remember just now we're talking about knowledge, yeah? Because of his knowledge, so he knows all the world system. He knows the universe. So everything he knows, right? So he is this Loka Vidu. The next one is Anuttaro Purisa Dhammasarata, of men to be trained. Whether tameable or non-tameable, he is able to train them. Say example, tameable easy lah, okay? If tameable, become enlightened or become liberated or reduce their suffering because the person can catch it. The most difficult one is those the mind is not clear. Yeah, those are the people more difficult. But Buddha, with his knowledge, with his supernormal power, he can use his knowledge, mind, and to see how he can help the person. Say example, if you remember Yaka Alavaka, anyone know Yaka Alavaka? Yeah. This Yaka Alavaka, he eats people. Yeah? But through the incidents, right? Through the incidents, the Buddha managed to tame him. And end of the day, right? He became Buddha's follower, right? So, and from there, right? He stopped righteous, because he followed Buddha already. So he has to follow Buddha's moral, have to follow characteristics of the Buddha. He emulate and he learned, right? So he become very virtuous. He teach men, right? For us, he has a lot of disciples, right? So he teach men to be liberated, to reduce suffering, including all of us in his teaching the Dhamma. Say example for all of us, as Vada Sutta is a very good sutta for us to learn, right? How to have harmony life among all the people, right? Not south, east, west, not up and down, yeah? So Nadia and Zenithia. So the God, just how we mentioned, Mangala Sutta is one very good example. He teach God, Devas, good. Buddha, awakened one, yeah, because he is not only awakened, but he is also a self-awakened one. Because of his awakening, he destroys. That is the one that binds us in this samsara. Why? We repeatedly come and go. So how to end this samsara? That means ending this repeated birth and death, and this ignorance is fueled by craving. This craving, and that is the origin of our suffering. So how to do it? Learn the Dhamma. Okay, is blessed one or the fortunate one? Why he is fortunate? Okay. He is fortunate because he has his supreme quality to restrain his what is right, what is wrong, restrain his senses. So this is what he is fortunate. And he has the highest morality, the deepest concentration. People, whether in the Brahma world or Deva world or whatever world, no one can perfect as him. Right? He is the most perfect one. Fame and glory that spread far and wide. Okay, when he expounded this sutta to the 5 friends at Isipatana, he mentioned, and indulgence in self-mortification, that's futility service practice, and self is too extreme. This is not the way for progress of the spiritual life. So that's why he said, go in the middle way. That's why after he realized, oh, I lived in the worry about food, I don't have to worry about shelter, anything. Sensual pleasure, enjoyment, indulgence. And when during his 6 years of futility, self-mortification, suffering, torturing the body, these 2 extremes is the one. That's why in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, when he expounded this 4 noble truths and the noble eightfold path, all the devas in the various world, the Buddha is born, enlightened. The prince, the ascetic is enlightened. So they were so joyful, but the whole world got to know about it. The 4 kings world, and then go up to Tawatimsa one by one, to Shitta, and then higher and higher the Brahma world. Each world rejoice, each world rejoice with his far and wide. Okay, Sister Vadini, you become president, the whole world don't know, right? So, but sorry, just example. Yeah, but everyone rejoice and the whole world shake. The whole world shake. That is one. That is one incident. The other incident, when he passed away, also the whole world come and pay respect to him. That is his glory. Right? No one can enjoy that, except the Buddha. And he has a physical body with special marks. 80 minor. I won't elaborate here, but when you look at the Buddha, imagine, the Buddha as with all the virtues, because of his virtues, his complexion, his demeanor, right? Is the beauty. That is the beauty. And he accomplished his aspiration to become a Buddha through his determination and virya. Okay, his aspiration to become a future Buddha. Through so many years, aeons, he finally became a Buddha. An untiring energy. To become a Buddha, he needs the determination, adhikkhana, very, very strong adhikkhana, and the energy, virya. So that's why he is the blessed one. He is the fortunate one. We understand the meaning of it. We revered. We are inspired by the Buddha. And this is only his qualities. But because of him, because of Dhamma, the Buddha is not around. But his Dhamma is here for us to learn. The Buddha say, when you see the Dhamma, you see me. When you see me, you see the Dhamma. So now we don't see him, we see the Dhamma. It's an opportunity for us in this short span of lifetime to learn the Dhamma. For what? For our liberation. That is the final goal. Of course, the goal is a long one. The path, imagine the length of period the Buddha needs to go through. It's not a difficult, it's not an easy one. But as we go, little by little, moment by moment, what Buddha say? Every day we do a little. Every day we clear some anger. Every day we clear some jealousy. We clear our ignorance, our craving. That is how we progress in our spiritual life. That is how we progress to reach. Okay, so faith, because of understanding, then we have the faith. The faith will support us to continue. If not, we will be repeatedly in this death, birth, and death. So we learn, we practice the Dhamma, and we recollect. When we have this recollection during this time, even a short time, our mind is clear when the mind is pure. That is the time when we free ourselves from the great hatred and delusion, the ignorance. So if every day we do, little by little, as we do, the faith will increase. Prove a little bit, we reduce our anger. We reduce our quarreling with our family members, or anger. Show our anger at our children. Okay. You didn't do work again. Why this, why that? So we reduce. Beginning, how many years ago? 20 over years ago, when I started to learn the first Dharma. So the teacher actually taught on the mindfulness. So I went back. Then the first thing I realized is what I know. When before I know the Dharma, right? I have a lot of anger and impatience. I'm very angry at children sometimes. Have to work as a husband, as a wife, and has to work as a mother. So a lot of work, a lot very stressful. So when I always, I would just dump it and all lump together. The hangers are all lumped together. So every time when I want to hang clothes, I would just, sometimes it dropped, sometimes it didn't. Right? So the more it didn't, the more anger I have. Then sometimes when I was angry, right, I self-torture. I did what? I stepped at them myself. My leg right, got cut. My leg got cut. I couldn't walk. Then after I learned, right, okay, very slowly, very mindfully, take out, okay. This one together, right? So I have to take out from here, okay, one. Take out from here, one, take out from here. So I managed to do it. Then next time I realized I don't have to dump it, I hang it. So I don't have to injure myself, lor. So that was the first lesson I learned. And from there, right, I said, I have improved. I progress. So I said, it helps me, like, correct? It's faith in the Dharma, in the sense that I benefit. And I become happier because I don't get angry at my children. Okay, you don't do it, okay lah. The poor mother will do it lah. So it changed the mind. It changed the mind. So from there, right, I think I can say I'm very much happier now. Yeah, and very much easily to get along and also to live my life. Yeah. Live, in a sense, is a life, right? Without a life devoid of greed, hatred, and delusion. That is a meaningful life. When we don't have this greed, hatred, and delusion, then us will feel the joy, will feel the happiness, and this happiness will spread, and that is a life. That is a live, a meaningful. The theme of our Buddha Day, living a meaningful life. So I also hope our friends here live a meaningful life to reduce greed, hatred, and delusion for our happiness. Yeah. And may all of us develop our faith in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, continuously develop our faith in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha for our liberation. Thank you so much for spending your time here and sharing your ease. Okay, thank you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.